For more, let's bring in Ron Chapman, federal defense attorney, author of Truth and Persuasion in the Digital Revolution, and host of the Wall podcast. Ron, good morning and welcome back. Let's talk about the week and a half so far that we've seen of this Diddy trial. Who do you believe, after hearing everything that has been presented, who's winning over the jury as of right now?
Well, I think we need to be ready for the possibility that both are right, that Ventura can be right about her fear that she legitimately experienced, but also that the defense counsel can be right here in the sense that Cassie Ventura had agency the entire time she was with Diddy. And this is what defense attorneys are watching in this case. This is a kind of watershed moment in the legal field here. If we believe the prosecution, then that would mean that victims in cases like this don't have their own independent agency, and something like coercive control is enough force to put somebody in jail for the rest of their life. That's a difficult proposition. And so the reality here is we're certainly listening to Cassie Ventura as a victim and all of the harm that she suffered, but the jury has to understand that they only get to find Sean Combs guilty in this case if they are able to show that Cassie Ventura had no other choice but to comply with these requests. And it certainly doesn't seem that way when I look at the evidence that's already been presented.
Okay, so Ron, if you're the prosecution, who do you put on the witness stand to sort of put the prosecution over the goal line of proving those 5 counts?
So for the RICO case, this is very similar to the mob prosecutions that Rudy Giuliani used to bring that he was famous for. You really have to prove that this enterprise was for the purpose of engaging in the criminal activity. That's going to be kind of difficult because we have Ventura, who was somewhat of a contractor. She had a recording contract. We have other employees of the organization who weren't involved in these sort of freak-off cases, and the prosecution is going to have to put people on the stand to show that Puff Daddy was running his organization for the purpose of engaging in this sexual activity, as opposed to it just being a byproduct of his, proclivities, what he engaged in his private life. That's going to be difficult, but moving forward as the prosecution, they've got only one opportunity here: put on as many of the victims and show that Puff Daddy's just a bad person, and hope that that's enough for the jury. But I don't think it will be.
Well, they did this yesterday. One of the biggest moments from Monday was when Diddy's former assistant testified that his boss once told him, quote, "I've got Ventura right where I want her. She's young, she's moldable." Talk about how crucial this is to showing the mindset that Diddy had, that he was able to mold Cassie into who he wanted her to be and do things that he wanted her to do.
Yeah, this really comes down to jury instructions for the prosecution. If the prosecution is able to avoid an instruction to the jury that requires Cassie to have had no other choice but to submit to this, then it's going to be very difficult for them. But if they are able to get this judge to say that coercive control or that implied threats, things like that, are enough, then I think that they've got a much easier road. They've got sort of a path towards victory here. And so they're going to continue with this sort of evidence showing that Puff Daddy tried to manipulate and control her. The reality is, though, it should be a concern for a lot of Americans, because if a boss's conduct that is manipulative, wrong, very problematic, but not to the level of sort of physical force, that really opens the floodgates to the type of charges people can face in the United States when somebody objects to the type of treatment that they've received.
All right, Ron Chapman, we appreciate your insight this morning. Thank you.